Well, I wore my Pisces shirt for everybody today. Hello, hello. It is Thursday. Well, let me look at my watch. January 20th, just to document the date here. And I'm super excited because we are going to be diving into some astrology today and the big three. What? If you don't know what the big three are, it's your sun sign, your moon sign, and your ascendant, or also known as the rising sign. And if you don't know me, my name is Jennifer Hart, and I am a connector. I connect people who are seeking change and growth, up leveling. Maybe they're on a spiritual path in their life and they are wanting to move themselves forward, do a little bit of exploration and discovery. And I help connect them to the information, resources, people, and events that might be able to help them along their way. My grander vision is, raising the consciousness of the planet as a whole. And we will actually be talking about visions tomorrow with Melissa Acuna-Dingo. Haven't announced that yet. Mark your calendars, 10 a.m. Pacific time. And today I have a super special guest, Danie C. Muniz. It's like Muniz. I love it. And she's a spiritual designer. She is also the creator and founder of the Peace Teacher. Oh, you know what? Let me just hold the line just a moment. I wasn't ready for this, but we are going to pull this off right now and give her a proper introduction. Okay. She was on with me last week, but we can't always assume that people were here with us every time. Schedules are crazy. The universe brings who it's supposed to bring, when it's supposed to bring them. So maybe you weren't with us last week. So if you don't know Danie yet, she's super awesome. She's appeared on national television, on American Idol and The Voice. She has worked with organizations such as the Walt Disney Company, Wells Fargo, and Starbucks. We all know Starbucks, right? She's a consultant for Bob Proctor and a leadership trainer for Tupperware and Mary Kay. Danie has worked with thousands of clients for almost 20 years as a leadership coach and trainer. Developing the leaders of the future in corporate and the entrepreneurial space is her passion. I love it. She brings a unique holistic approach combining spirituality, astrology, and science to get results for her clients that no one else can. She specializes in helping soul-based female entrepreneurs go from all over the place and in their own way to taking their power back. As a spiritual designer, Danie is a leader in the field of personal leadership, breaking generational paradigms, and intuitive astrology. She resides in Texas with her family and Jake, the amazing pug. Okay, so I'm super excited. Today is going to be amazing. Let's bring Danie on. Yay!
Okay,
you are with us live. So
yes, I'm excited.
Back. I'm super excited about that. It's going to be so fun today. So a little bit of the backstory. I brought Danie on last week to talk about Mercury retrograde. If you missed it, go check it out. It's on my page or my YouTube channel. You can listen all about it. Mercury retrograde is happening for a while, so you could get up to speed, how to have it work in your favor and to work around it. But from that, we talked about how a lot of people don't really know what a birth chart is, or as she calls it, a natal chart. So it's interchangeable. It's the same thing. And I never knew it. I just always knew I was a Pisces. So I wore my Pisces shirt today. Let me show you the back. Can you read it? I've been obsessed with astrology since I was a kid, and I tried to learn it, and literally it is a whole other language. Like, it is crazy. Like, I mean, it is like, and so I'm like, I'll just pay somebody to do this. Like, I'm over it. So yeah. When I met you and you were able to, that's one of your strengths and your passions, and you really build astrology into like everyday living. And so when we were on the broadcast last week, I was like, we should really get back to like the basics of astrology for people. And someone even had commented, and she was like, I don't really know what that is. I would love, because I had mentioned you could use my chart, which is cool because one, it's cool for me because then I get a reading, but also people who know me, which is a lot of people who watch this, they could see how it correlates with me, So we decided to do it, and here we are today. Yay!
Yay!
And I want to announce now that we are going to, well, not we, Danie is going to do two awesome things. One is a giveaway for anybody who's here live today. All you need to do is hashtag I learned, hashtag, and then what you learn, your breakthrough, hashtag, your breakthrough, your takeaway, your epiphany, like what you might have learned about yourself. And then of all the people who do that, one person will be chosen to get a free half-hour reading for their big three, their sun, moon, and ascendant / rising sign. And then separately, if you have any interest in any of Danie's services, she did put together a special offer for people of Jennifer Hart Connected. It's a discounted VIP package, and she gave a discount like price away too. So thank you for that. Super excited. I'll drop the link in the comments after. I don't want people to be distracted. Okay. Hi, Shannon. Shannon says, I love astrology. So do we. All right. So let's first talk about what exactly is a birth and natal chart. What do you want to call it for this? I always call it a birth chart. So you
okay, we can go with birth chart. I'm fine with that. Okay, so go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, tell us like the basics. If someone is new to astrology, like what is the birth chart?
Great. So birth chart is where the planets were in the sky at the time that you were born. So all it does is take a snapshot like up in the sky to say, this is where all the planets were. This is where everybody was hanging out. This is where the party was when you came to this earth. So it's really great because it tells us so much about ourselves, which we're going to learn today about Jennifer, which I'm super excited. And I'm super excited that you wore your Pisces shirt, and you're going to find that out when we start talking about your big three in just a second.
Okay.
But it really is just where the planets are. That's all it is. Like, let's just strip it all away. It's just where the planets were in the sky at the exact time that you were born, which everything is always moving in our sky, right? Like we know our sun, right? It rises in the east and sets in the west, right? Like it even it changes its position in the sky throughout the day. So when we're looking at a birth chart, we need to know the exact area, like the city where you were born in and the time that you were born in. So we really know where everything was actually in the sky, because everything's changing, even the moon, right? The moon's changing throughout the day as well. So the placement of everything makes a huge, huge, huge difference.
Awesome. Okay, that's what I was gonna say. So, like, how do we find our birth chart? But you said it's the day we were born, the time we were born, and the location. And the reason for that is because the planets are at different places throughout the universe at different times. So that's why it's important. What if someone doesn't know their time?
So there are astrologers who can actually like get to know you and then kind of figure out your time. Like I've even done, there was a reading I did, I think it was last week. She didn't say whether it was AM or PM. And so I looked at both charts and I was like, just from the conversation I've had, I'm going to say it's this time. And then when she, when we started talking and I asked her like, what's the time was, I was like, I was spot on. So I'm not somebody who does that. So I wouldn't say that I'm the expert in that. But there are astrologers out there who can take a look and see. Like I could still do a big three for somebody, which by the way, the big three is just a term that I use. It's not like an astrological term. You can't go to another astrologer and be like, can I have my big three? They might not know what you mean. That is like my term, because I feel like those are the most important things to look at first when you're like learning about yourself through astrology. So I just want to put that out there. Like the big three is like my term.
That's so funny because I could see someone like calling up, going to another astrologer for whatever reason and being like, can I get my big three? And they're like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah. I was like, I think
it's a great term, and you call it the big three because you feel that those are the three most important, almost like maybe the base foundation of the birth and the natal chart. One thing I want to add about the birth chart is that I always just was like, I'm a Pisces. I'm a
Oh
Pisces.
yeah.
Like my whole life is centered around being a Pisces. And I very much resonate with a Pisces. But when I got further into astrology, then I realized there's this whole circle, which we didn't talk about this, but we could do it, is sharing the
Hmm.
screen so that
Hmm.
people can see the birth chart. I don't know if we
Hmm.
can do that or not.
Yeah.
And then there's all these houses, and once we pull up the screen, it'll be easier. And you don't know that like all the planets play a part. They all rule something, like Venus and Pluto and Mars and Mercury. So it's really cool when you pull your birth chart and then you start to see how it all flows together.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
and the other thing I want to add with that, as you said, like, you know, we all know astrology as our sun sign, or well, what we know as our sign, right? I hear a lot of people say, well, like, well, I'm a Pisces, or well, I'm a Gemini, or right? They tell me what their sun sign is, but there's actually so much more. You are way more than your sun sign, and when you actually look at the chart, your sun is in a particular house. And in the birth chart, each house represents a different aspect of you. And so, depending on where that, as we'll talk about with Jennifer, where that house is, it is a focus for you in this life. And so, this is why you may be around other, let's say Pisces, right? You might be around other Pisces, and you're like, well, we kind of resonate like on these things, but we're way different in this. It's because of not only the placement of the sun, but all the other planets where they're actually at. So,
yeah,
yeah.
it's very in depth. There's a lot of aspects. So I did take some birth charting classes, and I was just blown away by how deep it was. I was like, yeah, this is like, I would have to study this full time. And, or it's just, some people it comes very naturally to, and it didn't come
Yeah.
very naturally to me. I felt like I was like, I needed tests and all these other things. So I was just like, I'll just, let's just have people read charts for the future here.
There you go.
Someone says good morning. I cannot see who that is. Whoever said good morning, you have to give StreamYard permission to chat with us, but I'm going to see if I can see on Facebook. In the meantime, okay, so let's dive into the strengths of the big three. So maybe we could talk about like my big three strengths, and then we can also mirror like how it works for everybody else, however the best we can. I know it's going to be different for everyone,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I have faith that you'll do a great job at it.
Thank you. Thank you. I will do my best. Yeah. So, okay. So, did the big three, as Jennifer said, is your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign or ascendant sign. And that sign is the sign that was on the horizon at the time that you were born. So it was coming up on the horizon. And it tells us a lot about how we see the world and how we want the world to see us. I like to describe it as the lens that we see the world through. So if you're to put on your glasses, right? It's through this lens that you see the world and how you want the world to see you. Your sun sign is the core personality of who you are. It is who you are. If you strip away everything else, this is who you are. And your moon sign is your intuitive nature, your emotional nature. It's how you respond and react to things like innately. So, the reason why I like to focus on these things is because, for one, we're talking about your core personality. We're talking about who you are at the core, your emotional energy, which is the driver, right? It's the gas for all of us. It's what drives many, many, many of us, especially me as a Cancer moon. And then your ascendant. I think this is really important because sometimes we can get caught up in our sun sign so much that we don't realize how the ascendant is very different. So I'll just use me as an example really quick before we do Jen's. Is my sun is in Taurus. So it's a very earth grounded sign, right? Really, really nice sign. And so there's a lot of stubbornness in me for sure. But the thing about my ascendant is in Capricorn. So I am very organized. I am very driven. It's going to take me like a while to do something, but I will do it. And so the combination of these two, being extremely stuck and stubborn sometimes, along with my Capricorn, who is determined to get there, but it's going to take a long time. these balance each other really nicely, but also keep me very stuck. And so it's up, like, this is why I know this. So then that way I can be like, okay, knowing these two signs, I know that I actually need to get out of my own way, which is that is in my, you heard it in my bio, is because I understand that. I know it because I do it, right? So I'm able to help people through it because I've experienced it and I experience it on the day to day. So knowing these things is actually become a strength of mine, although it could be considered a big challenge or a big setback for me. So let's look at Jen. And so I do want to I want to say this up front because I know, Jen, you had your chart read and your signs in Pisces and everything. And so I want to remind everybody that I use sidereal astrology, which is slightly different than tropical. And because of that, sometimes our signs that we're used to in tropical could be different. And that's because we, in sidereal astrology, we like look up in the sky at the actual time you're born with a telescope to see what is in the sky. In tropical, it's based on the seasons, and so it's more fixed. So the stars and the planets are still up there. It's still the same thing. It's just based on a fixed period in tropical, where in sidereal we're looking what is actually up in the sky. So, Jennifer, prepare yourself.
Oh my God, you're gonna tell me I'm not a Pisces, huh? I knew that was coming. I just intuitively felt it. But first, let me say real quick. So neither one is, or both are right?
Yes, neither
okay.
one is wrong. Neither one is wrong. It's just how you're choosing to see it. That's it.
Got it.
That's it.
Okay.
That's all it is. Yeah, nothing is wrong. I love tropical charts. I've looked at my tropical chart. There's aspects that I resonate in my tropical chart, and I do have some theories. My love and I we have theories about tropical and sidereal. Maybe that's another conversation, more advanced conversation around astrology, but definitely have some evolution ideas around that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So just let me, before we get started, yay, we have a new person here. Whoever said, yay, I found your life. Woo, I have a guess of who it is. It might be my friend Johanna. And if it's not, hello to whoever you are. But if you don't allow StreamYard face permission to show your name, we can't see you in here, but we see your comments. So thank you. Okay, so
and hi, Sandy G. I see
Sandy G in the house.
Hi.
She's one of my gals. Okay,
and don't forget, if you learn anything throughout this broadcast, to use hashtag I learned, and whatever it is that you learned, and you'll be entered to win a reading just like this of your big three.
Yes. So that's for anybody who's live. So thank you for attending live. Make sure you use anytime throughout, like hashtag I learned, and then something that you learned, or a breakthrough or epiphany, whatever it might be. They're all kind of the same. And then share with us, and then you'll be entered to win. And we'll keep saying that because I know people hop on, hop off, come back, whatever the case is. We got lives, right? All right. All right. If you click share, I think you can share your screen. We're going like we're testing this out real time here.
Yeah, everyone. Let's try it.
But I'm a visual person. And so to me, it's very important to see visually. And so I think other people might be helpful if they see what a chart looks like if they've never actually seen one. And I've never seen a sidereal chart. So I would be curious to see that.
So it's the exact same thing as your tropical chart. I'm just trying to share it. Okay. It's just like asking me to do all these things. So I'm trying to see if they'll let me. Yeah, I know, right?
If not, that's fine. I just had the idea. And here's the thing, creative visionaries, I'm always like last minute, like, oh my God, I had this huge idea. Like, let's do this.
And you know what? And it's all good too, though, right?
Yeah. It's a little stressful at times, but it usually works out for the fun. Okay, so while you're looking and seeing if you could work that out, we have two people that have already said they have learned. Well, one person learned they have a birth chart, which is super awesome because I think this will rock your world and blow your mind. And then someone else said, I learned that there are two charts. I also learned that too last time that I had Danie on. I didn't know. I had never heard of sidereal astrology. If you can't get it, that's all right.
I think I can. I'm hoping. Oh, Amanda, there it is.
Hello. Amanda's here.
Yay. I think you can see it. Can you see it?
Okay, yes, I can see it. Let me add it to the stream. All right. There we go. Cool.
Okay. So I'm going to see if I can make it larger. So this is what, that maybe not. This is what it looks like. So this website I'm using, and I use this website on purpose. I use other programs, but this one I use purposely because everybody can access this information through Astro-Seek. Like you can pull up your own chart, put your own information in, and see the chart. Now, you may not understand the chart because there's a lot going on here, but you can pull your chart up. It's absolutely free if you go to astro-seek.com. Okay,
Astro
so
dash what?
Seek, SEEK.
Okay.
.com.
Seek.com. Thank you. I'll drop that also. I'm adding a note.
Perfect. So this is what the chart looks like. And so just really quick so I can describe it is this part right here where these two black lines are, this is what is above the horizon when you were born, and this is what is below the horizon when you were born. So if you want to have that visual in your head, this is what's above, this is what's below. And so your sun, because of the time that you were born, right, 1 o'clock in the morning, it was below the horizon. The moon was high up in the sky. And so your sun sign is actually showing 25 degrees Aquarius.
Ooh, that's interesting. I'm going to stay open-minded here because I'm very attached to my Pisces self.
Yes, because you know why? Let me just say some things about Aquarius for you. Aquarius is a fixed sign. It's an air sign. So you think a lot and you get very, very stuck on ideas and do not want to shift them unless there is some intellectual explanation as to why. Then you'll be like, oh, all right, maybe I'll change. But you get really stuck.
Very true. This is very true.
So let me just keep going. So some of the key words with Aquarius would be idealism, community, liberty, equality. So Aquarius's role is to learn how to be an individual within the group. It is all about the group, but it wants to be individual of the group. It wants to be within the group, but not part of the group. It loves finding solutions to social issues. It loves the exchange of information. It loves like ideas and thoughts. It loves intellectual conversation. Loves. It's not about the petty little stuff, mundane stuff. Like if Kim Kardashian is doing something, you're like, whatever. I don't care about Kim Kardashian. What is she doing to serve the world? Like that would be more of your thing. Communication is huge. Like you need to have communication in your life. You need to have some social interaction. So meeting people, talking with people, exchanging ideas with people in a community or one-on-one is it's all about the social. I don't mean like your social side of life, meaning like you like to party, although that would be fun for you, but you like to be social. You like to be around people. And I will say this though, because it is beneath the horizon, you're more of an introvert in that sense. So you do need a lot of downtime by yourself to refuel. Maintaining equality in your relationships is really important. Like you want to make sure that everybody's getting something, that nobody's like higher than the other. Like you really try to keep everything equal. I swear, like your tested theories are like it's tried and true. Like a lot of people think Aquarius are like they don't want to explore new ideas, but that's not the case. It's just you hold on. It's like it's tried and true. It's logic. For Aquarius, it's all about logic, and so it's not going to be tampered by emotion. It's going to be tempered by logic. It wants, like, if this makes sense logically, then that's what it's going to hold on to. And unless anybody can tell you different, they're not going to change it. Not at all. Very resistant to the change of it. One of the lessons of Aquarius is to learn the balance between bringing in the emotions and balancing the logic. How is this? Let me I can't see you because I'm sharing, but how are you? How is this resonating?
Oh my God. I'm like, it's everything. Everything you said is spot on. So I do get super stuck on my ideas. And if you cannot tell me a better reason why, like I always want to know the why. And I would
Mhm.
challenge people all the time. Cause I'm like, well, why is this idea better? And I need to know that why. And then I'm happy to change if you can logically give me what makes better sense.
Yep.
And but the stubbornness of that also has served me in many ways, because sometimes I don't want to say I'm right, but it's like my idea is good and people may not see it, and then I push it through and then they're like, "Oh, yeah, we're so happy." So it has its
So
pros and cons.
Aquarius, yeah, exactly. And this is all signs, right? All signs have their pros and cons. So this is really cool. I love that you said that, because this is the Aquarian energy. And when we get to your moon in a second, it'll be emphasized by this even more. But they're the progressive. They're here to change. They're here to change the world, change the universe. And so this is one of the problems that Aquarius can have too, or Aquarians can have, is that they get so stuck on their idea that they can't move forward into the change that they're actually seeking, the change for the greater good that they're actually seeking. So they can get so caught up that they're not at the forefront, which is where they like to be, the forefront of the change, of the progression of society. And it's something that they have. I mean, it's good because they're always wanting to be at the front and push things forward. Like, which, as you said, like people just can't see it because it's not, it's so advanced for some people, or it's too futuristic for some people that they don't get it. They're like, wait, that doesn't, no, this is how we do it, right? And you're like, no, but there's this other great way to do it. And they can't see it. And so you have to push it through. And then in the reverse side of that is sometimes you can get stuck where you're not able to do that. So it's something to be careful of.
Absolutely. And the other piece that's really, really true, and a lot of people don't really know this about me, they just know me as a social, outgoing person. I am a huge introvert. I've always been a homebody. I require a lot of downtime. Like I usually am home on the weekends. I used to go out a lot.
Mm.
But I would need, if I went out, I'd need recovery time. And so people who know me that are watching this, they'll be able to be like, okay, and it's people who really know me, because people just
Yeah.
go, oh, Jen's super social.
Yeah.
But like one thing I noticed is I didn't know these things about myself. And when I lived in San Diego, I'd have friends come and visit. And after like 2 days, I'd kind of get really like cranky. And it's because I lived in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. I was sharing my space and I had no like down or alone
Yeah.
time to just decompress. And it was like, go, go, go. And now that I know through my journey of personal development more about myself, and you just freaking validated it 100%. It's because I required like that downtime. And so that's why, because my body was like, I need like to be alone. And so it was
Yeah.
very, very insightful. So this just like solidified it 100%.
It's interesting because like same with me, like people are like, oh, you're such an extrovert, like, and yeah, I can appear that way, right? I'm outgoing, right? People are like, oh, you're so outgoing, and you're because I've done like polls before on my like social media and stuff, and people are like, oh yeah, you're totally an extrovert, and it's like, no, actually not.
Yeah.
I love to be around people and I love to connect with people, but I literally will block time off on my calendar if I've had a couple of busy days where I'm like, nope, not doing anything, because I need it. And I know that. And because like this helped me understand that. Like I didn't understand that before. I just thought like, oh, it's just I just need some little bit of extra time, or I would push myself and then get myself sick or burnt out, or like, totally exhausted, and I didn't understand it. And so like going through this and learning like, oh, it's because I need that rest, I need that period, has really helped me not feel bad, because I used to feel bad like, why do I need all this time, or I'm like just being lazy or something, in it, which it's not the case at all.
Yeah. So this is one reason why I feel for myself personally, I can only speak from my own experience, that I would encourage people to explore their own birth chart, because
Yep.
someone wrote, I wonder what the heck I am. Exactly. And it's been part of my personal development journey. And had I had a chart reading by you, 4 years ago, I would have known this about myself. It was actually my friend. He sent me an article and he's like, do you think you're a social introvert? And when I read it, I was like, yes. And I was at struggle with myself for so long. And I didn't know. And so it was the same thing you just said. Like I was creating burnout and I was just like, And yeah, so knowing yourself and knowing like what this is in the chart, it just all lines up. And so it makes me believe even more. So I had a question.
Yeah.
For people, is it the Aquarius that makes me, social but introverted, or is it that it's on the lower horizon?
Yeah, great question. So both. The Aquarius is a very social energy, very social. So all Aquarians will have that feeling. That's especially sun, moon, and ascendant sign. If those one of those big three are in the Aquarian sign, you're definitely going to have that. Now, the need to like rest and relax is because it is below the horizon. If it was above, man, that's see, this is why knowing the time and everything makes a big difference, because an Aquarian whose sun is above the hemisphere, right, is shining bright in the sky. That one's a much different energy, and it's going to it needs the social interaction. It needs to connect with people to get fueled. Very different. Very, very
Yeah,
different.
and I have friends that are like 100% extroverts. I believe it's like a scale,
Oh yeah.
And I think when we can find this out about ourselves and then be able to recognize it in other people, it really helps your relationships, because I can say like, hey, powering through 7 days of events works for you, but it doesn't work for me. It sounds horrible. And like quarantine, I was totally okay with staying home, whereas my extroverted friends were dying because they were like, no, I need the people. And so it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's super
Yeah.
interesting. We're
Yeah.
getting a bunch of great comments over here. I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
them.
Oh, I don't know if I can see them. If I click over, it doesn't do anything, right?
Amanda
Okay,
was
cool.
saying it's on comments on the top right-hand
Oh,
corner.
there it is. I see it.
Amanda said, I hate the word lazy. It feels judgmental, like a
Mm.
judgmental word for misunderstanding someone's need for recharge and alone
Yes,
time. Yeah, I want to just take lazy out of the equation,
I
because
agree.
I was taught like, oh, if you're just resting and laying in bed, you're being lazy. But no, now that I know this about myself, even as a kid, like I needed that time to recharge and be alone. And I just did my health values recently. And I
Ooh,
found that rest and recharge is like my number 4 value. So when
wow.
people are like, let's just pull an all nighter, I'm like, hell no, let's not. Like, I need my sleep. I even told you this morning, I was like, oh, 9 a.m. is kind of early for me. Like,
It's
so
true.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. And this is why I love this. I love the conversation about introvert extrovert too. Like I believe, like I haven't tested this theory yet, but I believe it has to do with where the sun is on that natal chart. So like what house it's in
Ooh.
above the horizon.
Yeah,
That scale of extrovert. I highly
that would
believe
be
that. I
fun to
haven't tested
test
it.
that out.
It would. Research
Okay,
project.
before we move on, I just want to
Yeah.
say, if anybody's joined us, so Danie, if you have any interest, Danie does have a special package at the end that you can purchase. It is an exclusive VIP package, specifically only for people of the Jennifer Hart Connected community, uh, aka viewers. And then she also is going to give away, if you do hashtag I learned and then share something that you're learning throughout this, she'll give away 1 half-hour free reading of your big 3. Super exciting. So I just want to keep saying that because I know we've had people join us. So, okay. And let's move on. Take it away.
Okay, before we move on to your moon, because I really want to talk about your moon sign,
Okay.
which is really going to bring a lot of who you are together, which I'm excited to share with you. I want to talk really quick about that third house. So because your sun is in the third house, your focus in this life are all related to what that house represents, and that house represents communication, technology, curiosity, learning, and short travel, as well as your environment, your neighborhood, or your physical environment, like where you live. So it is really important for you and a big focus for you to use your mind. Like you love analyzing things and using your mind. Like you need to use your mind. If you ever find yourself not using your mind, there is something wrong. Like if you're not wanting to learn something, there is something is definitely wrong, because you want to learn everything. Like I think it's funny that you said earlier that you love like you took a class on birth charts, right? And learning about the birth chart, but you were
Yep.
like, yeah, I'm not getting into that. Like you're curious about it, but the long term longevity of it isn't your style. It's not your
Yeah,
style. You're
100%.
like love to learn all the things, but not really deep dive into them too much. Not really
Every
your thing.
single thing, just to validate you, like that you said is associated with this, is 100% true. So, like, as you all can see, like here I am communicating to people and sharing information of things that I've learned with the people that are watching. And I have my different platforms, I do events. And so it's like, I can see that all in motion. And yes,
Mhm.
I love to learn things. And here's what I realized along the way, because I'm curious about so many things and I want to learn them all. I don't have the time, energy, and effort to do it. So my skill is learning a little bit about a lot of things, not being an expert in any of them, except the fact that I can find someone that's an expert and connect you to them.
Mhm.
And so I get like the best of both worlds. And that took me a while to figure out, but it's all things that I figured out in my personal development journey overall. So yeah.
Yeah, we could have sped that up just by doing it for the chart.
Well, I know
I'm
I've
just-
had my chart read a couple of
Yeah,
times.
this is
And
true. This is
yeah,
true.
and so, but it's always different with everybody, right? Like every reader is going
Absolutely.
to be different, every
Absolutely.
chart. And the charts are so like, they have so much information because you can take a chart and read it in real time today. You can project into the future, right? You
Mhm.
can like,
Mhm.
there's so many different things you can do. So like one
Yep.
chart reading is great, but
Uh-huh.
there's so much more. It's so deeper.
Absolutely. So one last thing I want to say with your son in the third house before we move on is that there's actually two things. Number one, you need variety. You need variety. You're like an always on the go type person. Um, Again, keeping in mind that you need to refuel, but it's just the change in environment you need. Number two, your environment is you're very influenced by your environment. So be mindful of who is in your environment because it plays a big role in how you feel and how you're experiencing life. So I know there's that quote on you are some of the five people you hang around with, like literally for you that is like exact, like spot on. So be mindful of that because you will go with your environment. So the environment needs to be positive, nurturing, calming, and caring for you in order for you to excel. All right.
I'm all holy crap, just more spot on. Like that's all I have to say about that. So she wrote also, I love the values mining. Yeah. So I did my health
Yeah.
values recently through a healing that I did. I did a root
Ooh,
cause release with Melissa, the intensive one. And part of the
nice.
homework was to figure out what my health values are. Environment is on there and also variety because I was beating myself up like, man, how come like when I go to the gym and I do a boot camp class, I want to leave about 45 minutes because I'm over it. Like, and I have to find ones that have a lot of variety. And then I go, oh, and then I want to try this. And so I'm just hell laughing. Like it just makes so much sense.
Yeah. See, and this is why I love this is a lot of the times I hear like, oh, this is so validating. This is just confirming. It
Yeah.
is. It's what you already know about yourself, but now you can lean into it more. It
Yeah.
becomes a strength. It becomes a power instead of like, what the heck is going on? What's wrong with me? It's not. You're not. Nothing's wrong with you, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about your moon.
Okay.
Because your
So
moon,
can you point out where the moon is? So like most
yeah,
people probably don't, maybe we should do like just a birth chart basics 101 real quick. Like you
yeah.
can, I don't know if you can see the mouse if you move your mouse on the screen, but
I'm moving it, but I don't think you
I
can
don't
see
see it.
it.
Okay, so
Okay.
we'll do our best to verbally explain it. But there's
Yeah.
all the houses, like maybe you could talk about the houses and
Oh,
then show kind of
yeah.
like where those planets are and then what the
Mhm.
signs are cuz it
Yeah.
shows the signs, not by name but by their symbol,
By
which
their
some people might
symbols.
know or might not.
Yeah, so that's the beauty of astrology is everything is symbols and symbols are very powerful. Symbols hold a lot of meaning, right? Like just seeing that sun in the sign of Aquarius, like I went on for how long talking about Aquarius, right? It told me a lot of information. So symbols are very powerful. So the symbols that you see around the outside ring of the birth chart are all the zodiac signs. So where that dark black line is on, it looks like it would be the left side of the chart where it says ASC, that dark line there, that symbol is the symbol of Scorpio. And then from there, it goes all the way around each sign. You might notice your zodiac sign as you go around. At the very top, oh, I'm sorry, let me go to the next level. The next level, you'll see the rings The other symbols, those are the planets. So the sun is the symbol that is down at the very bottom of the chart. It's a circle with a dot in it. That's your sun. And then depending on what you can see, it's in Aquarius, right? The next ring you'll have is you'll see numbers. Those numbers are the houses. And so the lines that come out from that inner ring, those are the houses. So it's like the distance of the house. So the first house, second house, third house. So if you look at where that sun is, right, the circle with the dot, it's red. It is between these two lines. There's a very thin line here, and then there's a thicker line here.
Mm-hmm.
And in the center, you'll see the number 3. So that's saying that it's in the third house between these two lines. That's the third house. And then the fourth house is going to make up the next area.
So
Making
like
sense?
all of my chart is primarily on the left-hand side.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's interesting. Not everybody's chart will look like that. Your chart will look so different. I mean, we gave the website that you pulled this from, which is astro-seek, SEEK.com. So you can pull up your own chart. Now, are you going to be able to understand it? Probably not, but you can at least see what it looks like.
But you can know like the sun. So you can look to see where the sun is, what zodiac sign it's in and what house it's in. And then also the moon. So your moon is exact opposite. So you were born during a full moon.
I was. Yes, I was. And that's why I feel like when it's a full moon, like I'm very much affected because I was born on a full moon. So it's like,
it's actually a power time for you too. You at your most powerful during that time. So when you find out the lunar cycle, the part of that cycle that you were born in, like I have a client who was born in new moon, all new moons, she's just like on fire. It's like she's just very powerful during that time. So that I would use that to your advantage.
Okay, that's a
whenever you're planning things, especially from a business.
I should do things during the full moon.
There you go. Yes. Okay, so looking at the moon for you, it looks like a crescent moon. That's the symbol for the moon. It looks like a crescent moon, and it's the exact opposite of your sun, and it's hanging out in the 9th house in the zodiac sign of Virgo. So, and then the last thing I want to say about the chart, like as an image, the lines inside, and we haven't even touched any of this stuff yet, and this tells us even more information, but the lines inside are aspects. And the way I like to describe them is they're how planets are communicating with each other. So some of the communication is like they're in the boxing ring fighting. Some is the communication like they're sitting at a park having a good old time, like enjoying the environment together. Like there's also the aspects where they're working together to create something really beautiful. So the communication, the way they're talking to each other also changes a lot of that particular planet and that energy. So it could be that they're fighting against each other, where you might have like a sun and a moon in opposition, which you do. So you actually do. And so your heart and mind are always in opposition of each other. They're kind of battling each other. Which could be good and bad at the same time. So that's also something to keep in mind. So I know we're not going to get into aspects today because it is a lot more. I do that in my natal chart readings. We go through like every single part of your chart in detail so you understand it. But let's talk about your...
Well, real quick. So why do you think, can you just speak real quick to, for people who are watching, this is not their chart, it's mine, but why would it be important for someone to know those types of things about that? Like, how can I use that in my advantage by knowing that, by having my chart read?
So they're for you in particular with the sun and the moon, right? They're knowing that they're in opposition of each other. The sun is the conscious mind, the moon is the subconscious mind, or also said as your head and your heart. So they want different things. And sometimes your head wants to go this way and your heart is telling you no. And so they're going to fight it out. They may never be on the same page. So you may feel like, oh, but I'm feeling called this way, but I'm feeling called this way. And so knowing this, right, you'll know that sometimes your head and your heart are not going to be in alignment, and that's okay. that is still a good sign for you. That is still an okay sign to go forward with whatever decision you're trying to make or action you're trying to do. Because I think sometimes many of us, we think we need to have our head and heart on the same page. For you, Jennifer, no. And I think that's important for you to know, right? Another thing you can look at is the other planets, right? Mercury is the communication. If it is in conflict with your moon, there could be something in here where you're emotionally driven to do something, or you're being held back in some way, depending on, again, the aspect. So it could tell us a lot on how these energies are working together, where for some of us, we may think like, this is wrong, it shouldn't be this way, this has to be the way it is, and it's not for you. It's not. It's okay for things to be out of balance. It's okay for you to feel like things aren't quite right. I think that is something that definitely, why aspects are so important.
Oh my God, I love that. And then, okay, so I just have to laugh because someone who knows me really well, my friend Sandy, she said, "Holy crap, Jen, this explains so much about your journey to date." Wow, for real, right? I'm dying laughing. Okay, so
I do want to say before we go further, I don't know Jen that well. Like, I don't.
no,
like, Jen,
really don't.
We've talked like twice, I think. So I don't know you. I mean, I know you a little bit just because of the conversations we have, and I can use my intuition to know, but I really don't know you.
Yeah, we literally connected like, I think 4 times max online
now.
And we just met like a couple months ago. So that is a good thing to point out, that she does not know me. She is just solely reading this off of my chart. Actually, there was fun stuff that I'm sure is going to come up that we were talking about before this started. But my question is, so since you said my moon is my subconscious and my sun is my conscious,
yes,
I assume that's right for everybody, right? Which
correct?
One is right. Are we supposed to follow the moon then? Because the subconscious is more powerful? Like, I don't know. Like, what's your thoughts?
Okay, I'm going to go back to the aspects, because sometimes the aspects could be shifting that subconscious energy. So we got to be careful of that. Okay. The subconscious is the most powerful. I mean, my work is in hypnosis as well. I'm trained in hypnosis. So I'm like a big believer of the subconscious. So I would say the subconscious is the most. That's why I look at the 3, because the subconscious, your moon energy, that's your innate energy, and that is your powerhouse. But we need to move that into the consciousness, and we need to know how to work with that in order to manifest our desires, in order to bring things into our physical reality, right? We got to use the subconscious to do so. So knowing what your moon sign is, and some cultures is actually more important than your sun sign.
Yeah, well, definitely, because the subconscious is so important. It's rules like 95% of your life, or 90% or something crazy. Yeah, and we don't know. Like, you don't know what you don't know. It's a blind spot for a lot of people. So that's really powerful. Okay, I did not know that the moon ruled the subconscious. So I learned something new right now. So if you're just joining us, we are having a free giveaway. If you do a hashtag comment wherever you're watching from, there's a couple different places streaming, and just hashtag I learned, and anything that you learn, and you'll be entered to win a half-hour reading of your big 3. So yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the moon and see what goes on here. I feel like this is going to be super interesting.
So your moon, if we look at this chart, right, it's up at the top of the chart, and it's in the sign of Virgo. So Virgo is an earth sign. It is the more service-oriented, analytical, and practical sign. It is able to offer assistance to others. Like you need to help other people. Bottom line. Like, if you are not helping other people, you feel like you are not contributing to society. What are you doing with your life if you're not helping people? You have this willingness to serve, but you also have the capacity to solve problems. So this moon is such a beautiful moon, because it's super powerful, because you want to help people, and you can do it. And you can do it in an extremely powerful way, which when we get to your ascendant, you'll understand a little bit more why. But you have a natural, innate ability to just serve people in such a powerful way.
Oh, that gives chills.
Yeah. So you will make yourself useful to people, and I can only attest to that, because on our literal second call, actually our first call, the first call that I ever met you when we were at that networking thing, you like right away were like, okay, how can I help you? And it was just like, whoa, like I've never met anybody who was so willing to help people and like be able to come up with ideas and solutions. Like you immediately were like opening my mind to like, oh, okay, like giving me ideas and solutions already. Like it was just, and it's just natural for you. So you need to be appreciated for that though, and I think that is something that can get lost. People can also take advantage of you in that way, so I'm going to caution you to be mindful of that because you want to help and you want to serve, and you can, and it's so easy for you that you're like, why would anybody pay me for this? Why should I charge for this?
Oh my God, yeah. So funny.
This is why you struggle with that, because you just want to help and it's just so easy for you.
Yeah.
You have the ability to combine the practical know-how with the problem solving though. Like you're it's just like this beautiful merging. I would also say this is a very detail oriented sign. So you're in the details. You love the details. Like details, like you'll go straight to the details and it's like, whoo, somebody's got to pull you out for a second and look at the bigger picture. Like you have to probably stop yourself. You appreciate structure, you appreciate organization, you appreciate planning. Like that's just like, it feels good for you to have that.
Yeah.
I also want to say this though, you need routine, but the routine has to change. Like you thrive in routine, but because of that, sun, because of your sun, it needs to change.
Okay.
It can't stay the same. Staying the same is going to pull you down. What's up?
Sorry, I had like the major chills when you were talking about the practical know-how with problem solving, detail-oriented structure, organization, planning. My friend Sandy is like, Jen, on the money, so true. So like, if anybody watches this that really knows me, please leave your comments so that we can just, hear from someone outside of yourself. Because people go, oh, when you hear your astrology, you make it fit you. No, this is me. Like, I legit all of this. If even people back to like high school and even in my younger days, like we were planning events and charging the neighborhood to come see our dances and organizing. And so like, I'm just laughing. And then I'm also laughing because of the routine with the has to change. So I think that's what you were referring to this morning when I was like, yeah, I really got to decide, like, what do I want to do for these times of the lives? I love to do them, but I also don't like getting ready at 9. Like, do I want to do pre-recorded? Do I want to do this? And you were like, just wait.
Exactly.
So what you're talking about is
exactly. It needs to change for you. If you were to say, I'm going to be live at 10 a.m. Pacific every Thursday, my God, that would become a drain to you. You'd be like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Even though it's something you love to do, it's just too rigid for you. Too rigid. So having a structure of how you do your lives would be great. But now, a specific day and a time.
A structure of how I do the lives. What do you mean?
Mm-hmm. I'll just say this. Like before we even popped on, you like threw things at me on how this life is gonna go. Like these are the questions we're gonna make sure we answer. Like you gave me that somewhat of a structure. Now, are we following that to a T? Probably not, right? We're working with it, but you have an idea of how the structure is. Okay. That is good for you. Planning it out. Like I bet you felt really good about having this done in advance and like putting it out there, be able to advertise it. Like that was really good for you. You like that. So doing that is good, but leaving yourself the flexibility for it not to be so rigid.
Yeah. And it's okay. So here's a thing maybe you can speak to is I feel like I'm torn because a part of me really wants like structure, routine. Yes. But then the other part of me is like, hell no to commitment. And I'm like, I don't want the commitment. Yeah. Oh, the head and the heart. Okay. See, so that makes perfect sense. Because people will be like, hey, in 3 months from now, do you want to do this event? And I'm just like, oh no, I don't want to commit that far in advance. Like, unless it is an absolute hell yes for me, which is usually something that I come up with. I'm like, yeah. I don't know. It doesn't feel good, Then I feel like a jerk.
No.
So, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. something that is really important to you is you need to know that you're making a difference. So
Ooh,
whether you are behind the scenes, whether you are up front, whether you are part of a busy team, busy keyword, um, you need to know that you're making a difference in some way. Even like probably when you hop on like connection calls with people, you need to know that they are walking away with something, like you made a difference somehow in their life, or you will find a way to make some type of difference in their life.
that's
It's
very
just some
true. I'm like, what do you need? Okay. And then I'll like, oh, you want speaking gigs? Let me add you to these groups. And then I'll send you these. I'll tag you in this. Like, yeah. So it's a
Yep.
connector in me. Helps me to make a difference. So that's awesome.
Yes. Yes. That's how that works really that's why like when I looked at your chart and then knowing that you're a connector, I was like, "Oh my god, this makes so like you're living in your true talents and your true gifts." A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't understand what their gifts or their talents are, and so you've really combined them in such a beautiful way, which I applaud you for.
Thank
Not
you.
everybody can do that.
I'm all,
So,
this
good
is
job.
just so validating. And I also love that you said it's hard to charge for it because I have been like, how do I monetize this? And, there's
Cuz
so
it's
many different
easy
ways
and
I
it's
can do it.
natural.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like people have all these amazing gifts, like these are mine, but they have their set of gifts.
Mhm.
And we don't know that they're gifts. Like this is a whole nother live and a whole nother topic, but I'm just going to
Yep.
mention it real quick is that we have these gifts, talents, strengths, and superpowers. It's going to be a chapter in my book. And it's the fact that we don't know that they are because they are so freaking easy to us.
Yep.
Like, like it's
Yep.
crazy. And so it's how do we find them and figure that out? And that's one of the life's little journey of the exploration and self-discovery, or at least it has been for me. Okay, so
Mhm.
side note,
Yeah.
we got a heart, we got a like on that. Woo.
Yay. All right. So a couple of other things I do want to mention in here is that you probably gravitate towards healthy habits like nutrition. Um,
Working on it.
yeah. So I said gravitate. I didn't say you acted on it. I said gravitate. I want you to be mindful though that you have if you don't know this already, you have a very delicate digestive system and
Ooh,
nervous system. And so food affects you big time. So any type of like synthetics, um, what I don't know, any type of like I would say a more natural diet, not that it's not good for everybody, but for you more so than anybody, actually helps you feel better.
yeah.
When you eat like the junk, you probably don't emotionally feel good. Maybe physically as well, but emotionally you don't. It really affects your emotional nature. So just be mindful of that.
Okay, that super
Um,
resonates. Whoa.
that's the Virgo. That's the other thing with Virgo is the perfectionism and the worry. Like they're very anxious. This may for you though may have been something you learned from your mom, whether your mom was somebody who like kind of put that on you, was very critical of you, or or she was in fact really anxious and you learned that from her. But there's this worry that comes with you. So be mindful of that because that cannot be good.
And then wait,
It can
why do you why
overdo
do
it
you say mom? Like, is it
because of it
related to the
because of
sign
the
of the
moon.
house?
Because of
Moon.
the
Okay.
moon.
Yeah.
The moon is our mother. Saturn is our father. So
Okay.
wherever your Saturn is going to resonate with your father.
Yeah. Sandy
Which
said, "This is amazing. Watch her nail you completely and not say anything wrong." I know, right? Right? It's crazy. Lizzie said, "I've always heard Eastern versus Western." Yes.
Yeah, I love that. So, yeah, sidereal astrology follows more of the Eastern ideas, and actually, sidereal astrology is what, like the Mayans, the cultures from back in the days. This is what they followed. It wasn't until here, United States, we love to do everything. The West loves to do everything new, right, and different, and so we chose to follow the Western way of doing things. So, but Eastern has a lot to teach us, and they've been doing it for years, years.
Okay, before we
Um,
move on, real quick, I
yeah,
just want to
yeah.
like say, so I have noticed that. So first of all, my eating habits have been not so good. I really
Mhm.
like fried food and fast food, and I have a very sensitive nervous system. So it's fight, flight, or freeze. I freeze. Like if something comes at me, I'm sorry, the sun is like all crazy in my face, but If somebody comes at me, I freeze. And I was, looking into my health stuff. This is why I did the immersive release with Melissa about the health, is because I feel like it's the base foundation of my whole life, and it's affecting every aspect of my life, not being in a healthy lifestyle, which I've been trying to move to. And it's very up and down. And I wrote down that if I could change my diet, then I could regulate my nervous system and my emotions and my energy to then be able to show up better for people and everything else. So it's crazy you said this. And I'm on day 5. I'm doing the Plant Paradox cleanse, which is all non-processed food. And and so it's been very low energy the last couple of days, I will say, because I think my body
You're removing the toxins. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, like this is a lot of information, but like this morning I woke up and I had brushed my teeth before I went to bed, and I was like, dude, why does my breath smell so much? Like, it doesn't usually smell like this. And I was like, it's because I'm removing all of the toxins that have been in my life. I'm all, this is all me, people. Like, we're keeping it real here. And so when you said all of this stuff about nutrition, and I have a delicate digestive and nervous system, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis by Western medicine when I was 18. I'll be 40 in March. And so it's like, the digestive system has played a huge part in my life, like over half of my life, And so it's like, what is my life going to look like? I don't even know who I'm going to be when I have this healthy digestive system and healthy nervous system. So the fact that you just said that, I had to stop and point this out and show it in the real time of like what I'm actually going through, and how having this knowledge is going to help me stay more committed to my goal of changing my lifestyle, because I know how affected I am by it. So
like, and I want to just notice, if you guys noticed her language in there, the reason why she's doing it is so she can show up and serve other people.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I'm very key on language. I listen to people's language, so 100%. It tells a lot about what's going on in their world, in their inner world at least. So yeah, I caught that. All right, so let's cover really quick your one last thing on this is Virgo moons. They struggle, Virgos in general, but really Virgo moons, they struggle to understand their own worth, which is another main reason why you struggle to charge for what you do. It's hard to see your own worth, very hard. It's a lot of that perfectionism in it too, because they just want it to be so perfect. Doesn't need to be. Learn to live in it not being perfect.
So just real quick, I've done 2 immersive releases with Melissa. One was on relationships, one was on health. And the root cause belief of both of those was I am not worthy. Like, I kid you not. Like, I just have to. So Melissa and Danie know each other also. So that's why I'm just talking. Melissa will be on with me tomorrow. And tomorrow we're coming on to talk about vision mapping, and I'm going to make an offer to people. And it's the first time ever. And I tried to cancel it. Melissa was like, no, you're not canceling it. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to cancel it.
Nope, you're not canceling it. You're talking about it now and you're doing it.
Yes.
I'm excited for you. Because you're going to help people, Jen. You're going to help people.
I know. Thank you. This is so freaking just crazy awesome. And also, I feel like people are getting to know a little bit deeper me, because I don't really like, go, hey, I don't feel worthy today, guys. Like,
I don't think any of us wake up with that conscious thought.
No, but we should. Like, we should.
Well, we should. Yeah.
It's authentic. Like, and I am actually going to talk about that tomorrow. Like, the topic is vision mapping and authentic sales. And yes, that will be live as well. I haven't posted it yet, but it'll be 10 a.m. tomorrow, Friday, the 21st. That's Pacific Standard Time. And I'm going to talk about that. Like, coming on and selling shit is really hard for me, but I'm going to do it anyways. And I'm going to just do it authentically and be like, hey, if you need my services, you need them. And if you don't, you don't. Like, I'm not going to talk you into it, because I'm a buyer. So I'm just like, when I want something, I'm like, let me do this. I'm ready. I'll figure it out, whatever the case may be. So sorry, side tangent, but
no, just not a side tangent.
So resonates with me that you said understanding your worth. And now I can just acknowledge it and move forward anyways, Ooh, I love that.
I love that too,
Sandy.
Sandy.
Because our secrets, if we share I don't feel worthy, it's no longer a secret and we release. Yep. Ooh, so good. Skeletons in the closet coming out. Okay, sorry. Moving
okay,
along.
no, it's good. It's good. Okay, let's talk really quick about the 9th house, because where the moon is just as the sun, it makes a difference, right? It makes a big difference. So for the ninth house, different circumstances, different environments actually make you feel better. So travel. If you could travel 24/7, you would be the happiest. You would be the happiest because you have that natural curiosity in you, for people, for cultures, for things. If you could just explore that, if that could be your full-time job, I bet you would be like the happiest person on earth. Now, the struggle with this though is that you also are looking for external things to be happy, where happiness comes from inside. So I'm gonna leave that there for you because that is a big thing. You want to change the universe, and you want to get involved in different causes. So being part of different communities, again, that Aquarian energy, and knowing that you're helping change the world in some way is like really good for you, really good for your emotional well-being, really good for having you feel whole and complete. You have a really strong mind, as I said, in the Aquarian, but with it in the ninth house, it is extremely inventive. So that Aquarian energy mixed with this Virgo moon in the ninth house, even more so. So things that you are coming up with, things that are changing for you, or how you want to change, and being the person who can be at the forefront of that is it. Like that's your thing. So lean into that more. Your emotions are more directed by understanding, not necessarily feeling. I'm a feeler. Like the Cancer moon is it's in the fourth house, which is the home and family. So I'm very connected to the moon, very connected to my emotions, and I feel them. Like I can't stop them. They just come out of my eyes, coming through my body. For you need to understand them. There's more of a logic to it than an intensity of like being overpowered by them. And with your ascendant, you're not going to show that. You won't dare show that at all. Like that is like that is a secret, sacred place that you don't want to go, and you don't want people to see. You'd rather like do that in the corner by yourself.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Can I just reiterate? Did you just say that I don't want to share my emotions with people? I'm sorry. Is that what I heard? Okay. Holy crap. Like, that's so crazy because, yeah, like I can count on my hand how many friends have actually seen me cry. And I'm trying to be better at that and be vulnerable. But, like, I just, from my childhood, like, it was like, you just, like, that's
You don't do
weakness.
that.
So don't show those emotions. Like, keep them to yourself. And that's so freaking crazy that you just said that.
Yeah. So let's get into this because I want to get into your ascendant really quick, and I know we're like over an hour. So if you stood with us, man, like yay you.
Yeah, thank you for hanging with us. I feel like people are loving it though. They're like learning about themselves and astrology as a whole, and then those who know me, they can really see like how powerful this is and how spot on it is. And so I feel like that really shows the validity of having your chart read or knowing about it or looking it up at the very least. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's good.
Yeah. Even if you just look at these big three, they like already they've said so much about who Jen is and her journey so far. So
oh my God. And this is a small piece, everyone. This is just a small piece of the chart, but everything so far has resonated. Yes. And then just the hashtag, if you have learned anything, do a hashtag I learned and what you learned, your breakthrough takeaway. She's going to be giving away a half-hour free reading of your big three. What? All right. Ascendant. Yeah, this is longer than we planned, but it's so good.
I know. So your ascendant, if we look back at this chart for the visuals of us, right, who need to learn visually, where those two thick black lines are like going this way across the chart, thank you. Horizontally. The one that we're going to look at is the ASC. This is the ascendant. So this was the horizon, remember? So the sign that it's in is Scorpio. So again, the ascendant sign or the rising sign, they call it the rising because it was rising on the horizon, right?
Yeah.
When you were born. That is how you see the world. Oh, hashtag I learned. Hashtag I
Yes.
learned.
Yes,
Um,
Amanda, we're
sorry.
hashtagging. Just do hashtag I learned and whatever you learned, and then you'll be entered to win in the free big three. Free big three. So,
Free
okay, I
big
just
three.
want to note real quick. So,
Yeah.
in tropical astrology birth chart, my
Okay.
ascendant is Sagittarius, and so this
Ooh.
is so interesting that this one is a Scorpio. So that's 2 out of the 3 signs that are actually different. Okay.
Ah. Okay, so what's your moon in tropical?
It's Virgo. It is
Oh,
Virgo.
so it is.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So the moon was
That's
the same.
great. It's
Yes.
just the everything else is different.
And everything resonates, which was so
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So Scorpio, let's see how Scorpio fits for you.
All right, let's
So
do it.
Scorpio, it is a water sign. It is here to experience life as a constant series of obstacles or crises.
Oh gosh.
So if you so this is why I love sharing this, because if you up to this point, Jennifer, have experienced a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges, a lot of like rebuilding, a lot of overcoming, a lot of like losing or denying or uh, dying of self to be reborn or to rebuild. That is what you are here to do in this life. That is it. So nothing's wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. That's just what you're here to learn, because you're here to learn the power of transformation.
Okay.
You learn so that you can teach others, so that you can be the inspiration, so that you can be the catalyst for others. Again, going back to that. So I'm a firm believer that our chart is set up to serve us, to help us in whatever we're here to learn in this lifetime, right? That's just my personal belief. It's how I see the world. And so when I look at people's charts and I look at your Aquarius and wanting to help the world, right, and be on that forefront, and your Virgo need to serve and to be there for others, and then I look at your Scorpio as like, you're here to go through these crises so that others can learn from it, so that
Yes.
you can then go out and share and see, like, look, people, I did it. Let me show you, right?
Yes.
You can do it too. Like that, this is all working together for you to be of service here in this time, in this place, but also for your own soul growth and journey.
Oh my God. That's like, so when you first said it, I was like, like experience life, obstacles and crisis. Like, I mean, I've had obstacles, but when you said the power of transformation, I was like, oh my God, that's my whole freaking mission. Like, that's what Jennifer Hart Connected and the Connected Soul Network is me sharing like how an astrology birth chart affected my life, and knowing these things helped me to know myself better, or whatever the case is. Like I took this course, and so yeah, like, oh, like mind blown.
Yeah, you change so that you can help others change.
Yes,
That's what it
I
is.
love
That's what
that.
it's all about. And that curiosity for you, right, of learning all these things so that you can help others in whatever way that is, right?
Yep.
Learning to transform though through those episodes of conflict. And this is a key one with Scorpio, is letting go, because Scorpio is it's ruled by the planet Pluto, and Pluto is a very, very powerful planet. It is about transformation. It's about death and rebirth. It's the phoenix, right? It is also a lot of control. And so Scorpio is learning to release control, is learning to let go of things. It struggles to do that. It also is it it needs to confront the dark. It needs to confront that which is hidden. So you are interested in all the topics that are hidden, the occult topics, because those are like, well, why is let's get this thing out in the open. Let's unravel this. The people need to learn about this. People need to understand this, right? Again, to be at the forefront, to serve the bigger, greater good.
Yeah.
These things
Yeah.
work together.
Oh my gosh. Crazy. I just
Another
want to
thing,
say
go ahead.
real quick about the
I just want to
releasing
like share
control.
everything with you.
I know. Well, and then I'm like, I want to validate so people can
Thank you.
really see how this applies to my life. is I have been to multiple healers, okay, in all over the world, like different countries and stuff. And I have had a lot of
Traveler.
them say, like, you hold on to everything. Like, that's why you have these digestive issues also on the emotional
Oh
piece, is
yeah.
because
Oh
you do
yeah.
not let them go. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like they don't know each other. And how am I getting this same reading? And then you just totally validated it when you're like letting go and releasing control. And as you were saying it, my stomach was
Yep.
so tight. And it's
Yep.
just like, ooh, and I could feel there's still energy to be moved there and released and to like let go. And so, yeah,
That is a
woo,
lifelong lesson for you. It is. It's
great.
because once you learn to release this, then there's going to be a new thing that you're going to have to release. It's going to be a constant release, but
Right.
it's going to be worth it.
My onion layer. Yes. And me sharing my journey is what I'm here to do. Like you said
Yep.
earlier, is because then I'm inspiring and empowering other people. Those are the words I've written and used to do the same for themselves and the
Yep.
power of it. Okay,
Yep.
carry on. Sorry.
It's okay. Okay, so here's the part where this is why you. So the other thing, this is why you like don't share. I wanna call this out for you. Is because the Scorpio is very private,
Oh.
and it feels as if it's protecting itself. So it's not that it's secretive. It's not that it's not sharing. It's because it's trying to self protect. Like if you think of the Scorpio, it jabs. Like it's gonna kill. Like it's just gonna go for it. And it's like it needs to protect itself. It's a gooey, right? It's a gooey. It's a gooey. And so like it you are very sensitive, but you have this outer shell, this protection, and that's it. You don't share
Mm.
because you're trying to protect yourself. So but people like are like talking about Scorpios, and there's so much misinformation about it, and I'm like here to like to change that, because I think it's wrong. There's good and bad to all signs. Scorpios are not manipulative. They are not backstabbing bastards. They aren't. Okay, if you've dated one, I'm sorry, but that is not. It is not who they are. Although the actions may have been that, it's not who they are. It's just they are very secretive and self-protective. They're just trying to protect themselves. They're a ooey gooey mess inside, and they don't know how to deal with it. And so they put this outer shell on to protect themselves. So I just want, like, I want to put that out there, because I think a lot of people misrepresent what Scorpio is, and it's just not. They're very intense. Some people either love you or hate you. Like they just see you and they're like, who is this girl? Like, and you didn't even say anything, but they love or hate you. There's a little bit of a bitchiness to it. Like, and that's okay. That's like absolutely okay, because it's a protectiveness that you have, right? To protect the inner you. And as you grow and as you evolve as a soul, you'll be able to open up more and more, which I'm sure you have on your journey. And there will be a point where you could be that vulnerable person. It's going to take a lot of work for you, because
Yeah.
you're just protecting. That's it. It's like, so your partner, for example, like a good partner for you, is going to be somebody that you can trust, and
Mm-hmm.
that's going to take a lot. So you might avoid intimacy, because you don't want to put your guard down. You don't want to let them in. So you're more pushing them away. Like you might invite them in, and then you're like, it's too close, get away. Like you want
Yeah.
to push them away because it's too much.
Yep. Yep. 100%. Oh my God. Nailed it. Like fear of intimacy for sure. I have a question. Well, first of all, I saw that one of my BFFs, Katrina, she's a Scorpio sun. According to the
Oh,
tropical website, I don't know that she
okay.
would be there. So she's like, I'm loving this. And I was thinking of her as you were talking about all these things, because she is a Scorpio and she's super
Mm.
into astrology. So hi, Katrina.
Hi,
Also, we are
Katrina.
doing hashtag I learned, to share something that you learned with the hashtag I learned, and then you'll be entered to win. And this is if you're live. If you're watching the replay, you can still do it, and we'd love to see what you learned. But if you do hashtag I learned and something you learned, you'll be entered to win a half-hour reading for your big three. So make sure that you do that. But my question is, so, okay, what I know astrology to be is like, this was our plan before we actually came to Earth. Like, this is going to get a
Absolutely.
little deep. And so then would you say that it is an alignment that our childhood experiences are to create these things from our chart, because I look at a lot of this stuff and I'm like, well, I feel I'm this way because of, different things I experienced throughout my life, or even childhood, or, high school, whatever the time was. And you're shaking your head yes. So I'm assuming that's a yes.
We choose our parents. Now, I
Absolutely.
know for some of this is like super hard to hear, but for those of you that
Yes.
need to hear it, we choose our parents. We choose our
Yes.
mother, we choose our father because of our soul's evolution.
Yep.
I'm 100% in belief of that. I've seen it in
Me
my
too.
own life. I've seen it in my love's life with his daughter. I see it in relationships across the world. I mean, I see it everywhere. We
Yeah.
chose our parents for a reason. And when I accepted I'm not super close to my family any longer, and which is really, really hard for me because if you know anything about astrology, my son is in the 4th house. So family is huge for me. It is
Mm.
everything to me. And me having to be separated from my family was the hardest thing I had ever had to do. But like self-preservation, as we all have to learn, I had to do that. And when I did that, I realized that there were some contracts that I made with my mother and my father coming here into this time and place for me to learn. That was the biggest like release I could possibly have in understanding all of this. I needed to experience that. I needed to go through all of that in order for my soul to have its free expression as it has now. It didn't have that before. I didn't have what I have now. I didn't have the knowledge and the experience that I have now. And I wouldn't have had I not separated. I had to separate. And so this is one of the reasons why I think these charts, like I've done kids charts. Somebody mentioned kids earlier. I've done kids charts for consciously aware parents who want to help develop the kids' natural abilities instead of trying to box them in to what they think they're supposed to be, but really help them evolve as their soul needs to evolve. So sorry to
So
get
good.
off track, but
No, no, no.
like,
And I could really feel like your strong passion coming through when you were speaking about that. And then I'm also dying laughing over here because Sandy was like, I chose my parents, hashtag choose poorly. Chose poorly. So
yeah,
we won't get into it deeper than that,
yeah,
but I just saw the correlation. So I wanted to point it out and just ask your opinion on it. And so we choose our parents because we need and want these experiences. This is a whole nother life, but
yep,
what I believe, same as you, is like we're actually live up here in heaven or whatever you call it, and we come down here to like learn for school, and we're
yep,
like basically in school down here, and then
yep,
you pass these tests or whatever to make it in layman's terms, and then your
yeah,
soul evolves, and
yep,
so we come back multiple times too, and we learn different
absolutely.
things, and we have the same people and the contracts and everything. So
All of it.
yeah, I love the fact that you talked about having the kids charts read, so you do that also.
Uh-huh. I
um
do. Yeah.
and then the benefit of that would be that you could develop them as their own unique individual, instead of like putting on our own expectations to them. And that's why I just want to say, like, I've done this journey for myself, is because I want to be the best parent that I could be, and
Mm.
try to strip away as much as I can, so that, because I am a controlling person, I recognize that, and I'm working on it all the time, recovering control freak. And it's like, I don't want
Me
to
too.
like tell people what to do. I want to just support them in their journey. And so when I do have kids, I want to be able to just say, like, oh, okay, you want to play soccer? Great. Oh, you want to do gymnastics? Great. Like I was a cheerleader. That's what worked for me. And I was fortunate
Yay.
that my parents let me do all the variety of things and pick what I wanted to do. So that was very nice. So super cool about the kids charts, just aside
Yeah.
from
Yeah, I like to actually do charts, especially if there's a couple, if they're married, or if it's a family with kids who are a little bit older. Like the little ones, they may not understand it, but like if they're in their teens, they can start to understand a little bit of it. I like to do the charts together, where
ooh.
everybody's hearing everything, because I think the more as a family we understand each other. Like my love and I, if you were to look at us, like we're very opposite in a lot of things, especially on our chart. And so there came a decision that had to be made between us when he realized my emotional needs is something that he could not give me. And so I had to make that decision to say, am I going to stay in this relationship where somebody who can't feed that emotional need that I desire? But it became two things. One, I had to realize what I needed. And number two, I had to understand that he was not the one who was going to be able to give it to me. And I had to find that in another way. And so because of that, because we know each other's charts and we understand that, that helps us in our own relationship. That even his daughter's 16, and so she's been in this knowledge for ever since she was like 8 or 9 years old. So she's known a lot of this stuff, and so she can see it now too, and understand it about her dad, understand it about me, understand it about herself. And I think that just creates such a more healthy family unit of understanding and acceptance than trying to box or complicate things, because it doesn't need to be complicated. It really doesn't.
Yeah, that's super powerful. And the thing is awareness is always half the battle. Like if you're aware what your needs are, and then you're aware that he cannot give it to you, you can fill that void and still live in peace and harmony. Whereas I actually wrote like some stuff for my book yesterday in my notes, and it was talking about blame. Like, oh, my husband doesn't buy me flowers. My husband doesn't take me on dates. My friends don't call me to check in. And I'm like, yeah, but like, if you need those things, where are you in that? I mean, we'll go off on a whole nother tangent again, but well, tangent number 27. Okay. Back to the Ascendant. Sorry, everybody. But we're getting lots of good comments over here.
Yeah. No,
bring it back.
Yeah, so I would just kind of wrap this up, and then you let me know if there's anything specifically you want, Jen, to talk further on. But you're really here to learn the secrets of resurrection and rebirth. And you're going to learn that through different areas of your life, and then share that and teach that and be able to help others. That is 100% of one of the main reasons why you're here. And I'm not even looking at soul purpose yet. Like we haven't even talked about like how to identify that on your chart, but just that alone, I think is huge.
Holy crap. There's a whole nother soul purpose. Like I'm super intrigued. We're going to have to set up a reading or something, because this is just like crazy freaking awesome. Okay, so
any other questions that you think, or anybody have any questions that we
anybody
can answer?
in the chat that's watching have questions, now's the time. Answer them. I mean, obviously she can't get like super into your chart. What I loved, Rosie had said that she had the same ascendant in tropical versus sidereal as I did too, so that was kind of cool. So this must have been fun for her to hear about how this works. And obviously it will be different, Rosie, because yours might be in a different house. And that
the rising sign is the same. The rising sign is always that.
Oh, the rising sign. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. But the other stuff.
Yes. Okay, my bad. Let me see. So the ascendant, so Scorpio secrets. Do I have any questions?
So I will say this though, with your partner, one of the things I didn't mention with partnership, like you need somebody who can withstand your emotional nature, right? But you will also be very loving and devoted once you find that person, and it's an all or nothing with you. It's like I'm all in or I'm not. Like you could very easily cut it off, so to speak, right? It's like I'm all in and we're all in, but you won't be all in until you know they're all in. Yeah. And that is like you won't be the first one to be all in. They need to be all in first.
Since you brought the partner back up, is there any way, like, is there a specific sign, or like, how will I know when it's the right partner? Because, I am opening up to that. I have had some fear of intimacy. Like, I've been on a no dating for like the last 2 years, I think, just really in my own world of stuff. Everything you said resonated so hard. And I'm just like, yeah, I've even had some of my like ex-boyfriends be like, you're just not emotional. Like, you didn't even like, I'm over here upset and you're just like stone face, and I'm like,
Aquarius is the most non-emotional sign. It's very detached, which to other people can see. Again, this is where knowing each other, like my love's an Aquarius moon. So like coming from a Cancer moon who's all about emotion, an Aquarius moon who just doesn't understand, like it doesn't logically make sense to him. Like he just doesn't understand. He's like, why are tears coming out of your eyes? Like, I don't get it. Like he does not understand it. And I'm like, like I'm over here bawling my eyes out. Like he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to be that for me. But me understanding that, I'm no longer pissed off at him because he can't, like, why, like, I have to tell him, like, can you just hug me, right? I just need you to hug me, just don't say anything, just hug me, like, that's just what I need right now. And he's like, oh, okay. Like, like, but that's it. Like, with you, that person needs to tell you, right? You're not gonna all arms open and let me just, like, okay, like, is this what you, like, what do you need, right?
Right.
And you need a very stable, grounded person.
Yes,
Heads
I
up,
do.
because I'm gonna look at your seventh house, and because seventh house is the house of partnerships. So seventh house, it's in Taurus mixed with Gemini. So somebody who stimulates your mind like no other, who can advance that, but who's also very stable and grounded. Like, you could not have another aloof person. That would just be a clash of the titans there. That would not work. You need somebody
Yeah.
who's very grounded, who could bring you down, who could, like, take this up here and bring it down with you. And also stimulate you, like, intellectually, like no other. That person has to be smart, and has to be, and I don't mean that in just like book smart, like, no, like life knowledge smart, like that would really
Emotional intelligence is on my
100%.
yes. Oh, thanks, Julie. Julie said this couldn't be more true for Jennifer. She knows me pretty well too. Oh, and Amanda said I started to tell my hubby
Yes.
what I need. Kudos to you. It's not easy. You know what I mean?
No.
It is not, but it is so powerful. A lot of times we don't even know what we need. So
No.
what I'm going to do is, if there are any male suitors out here, I'd like to invite you to book a reading with Danie if you're interested in going on a date, and we'll see if you're a good fit ahead of time. So be nice to dinner from now on.
I love it.
I'm half kidding, half serious.
I'd love to do it. I'll just what is it, filter everybody for you.
Yeah.
These are the top 3, Jen.
Well, and
Go out
it's so
with them.
crazy because I've seen a lot of healers, again, like all different types, and my theta healer said the exact same thing. She's like, the person is going to be very grounded. Like, you pull them out to do more stuff, but they ground you down because you're always up here like, woo! And then matchmaker Danie,
I know, maybe that should be my next thing, get into matchmaking.
Oh yeah, well, I signed up for this astrology website, like, that you mix through your astrology, and then I just think it really didn't ever go anywhere. And I thought it was the most brilliant idea ever. And then I actually wrote it down as one of my ideas a long time ago, but I can't make that come to fruition. So I'm just waiting for someone else. And I know there's the pattern app, but you know, there's all
my love wanted to have social engagements, like, because he's an Aquarian moon, right? And he's also Gemini sun, so he's super curious, super creative, also on the progressive type area. And so he had these ideas of me doing events that were like to bring the signs together and dating, which I think is so funny because you said that exact same thing, but to have like mingling events, like, and having your sun and moon, and there's more Venus and Mars, but like having those signs and connecting with them, which would be really cool.
I'm down. Let's do it. Like, we're going to talk about that later because I will support that 100%. It can be under the umbrella of the Connected Soul Network, and it'll be one of the event types is astrology and dating. I actually wanted to create like a spirituality app that, like, because I go on these apps and like, I'm looking for someone that's enlightened, divine masculine, like super into personal development like I am. And I'm just like, this is not working out for me. Like, all these people are just not a match. And I'm like, I want a site like, and I went on Meet Mindful and I was just kind of like, I'm all, anyways, it's a whole nother subject, but like everyone's talking about it in the comments.
I love it.
Ooh, Amanda, that's interesting. She said 90% compatible, and then 10% is power couple. What?
That's powerful.
It is powerful. Oh, the other thing that I had 2 intuitives tell me is that my future partner, they felt that he was coming soon, and that he is a very good communicator. And you said that he has to be a very good communicator. So absolutely. I just want people to see, like, you know, because I'm sharing what I learn with people, is how powerful like this chart reading is. So let's get back to it. So if you learned anything and you're live here, make sure you get your hashtag I learned and then what you learned, so you can be entered for the drawing. Danie will draw for one person to get a free half-hour reading of their big 3. It's just a little snippet. And if you're interested in any of Danie's services, she did put together a special package for me. I will go and drop the link but it is thepeaceteacher.com/Jennifer Hart. And Danie, do you want to, I think you should talk about it. It's your super awesome package.
Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted to do for Jennifer's community is put together a really nice little package of readings. So if this big three was something that intrigued you, I can tell you that a natal chart reading is 10 times more powerful than this. We're going to go through all of that, as you saw in that birth chart. You can go through every single sign, every single planet, and explore all the things about you. So it's a 90-minute session all about you. We're going to look at your strengths, your challenges, careers, business. If you're an entrepreneur, like I said, I love to work with entrepreneurs to help them understand how they can create their business around their strengths. So we can look at that. Money, like your money areas, your relationship areas. Again, if you're looking at a kid's chart, I could also do a kid's chart under this too. The other thing that I'm offering in this is I think is really powerful is a solar return reading. A solar return reading is when the sun comes back to its natal position. It's what we know as our birthday. So some people will say happy solar return. That's what they're referring to. It's your birthday. It's the day that the sun comes back to its position when you were born. And that gives us the focus for the year. It tells us what our energy is for the year, where our focus is going to be for the year. And it's extremely helpful for when you're trying to plan things or when you're trying to understand the current challenges that you're going through. So that is a 60-minute session. And it's a really great session for like looking at your year ahead. So we do it somewhere around your birthday, just because I think it's a really great time as you reset your year. The other thing that I'm adding in this is 2 bonuses. Number 1 is a lunar return reading for 3 months. So every month the moon moves back into its natal position as well. And that gives you your energetic forecast, your intuitive nature, your emotional well-being. And that really helps us for a particular lunar cycle. So if you're like wanting to dive into astrology, this is like the package for you, because it's got all of it. It's got the natal chart, the current year solar return, as well as 3 months of lunar return readings for you. And then my love is a tarot reader, and he loves to do readings all around shadow work. So if shadow work is like up your alley, he specifically focuses in on shadow work and tarot readings. And so he's gifting that as well to Jennifer and her community. So you can find that on thepeaceteacher.com/Jennifer Hart. And if you're like, that was really cool, I really like that package, go for it, buy it. If you're like, I just want maybe this reading, there is a discount code for you on that page to get 22% off any of the readings.
Okay, first of all, can I just recap this real quick? So make
Yeah.
sure I understood it correctly. I'm looking at the link too. So they're going to get a 90-minute natal chart reading plus a solar return reading around their birthday. And then 3 months of lunar return readings. And is that one-on-one?
That is actually a pre-recorded. It's about maybe 5 to 10 minutes.
Perfect. Okay. And then they're going to get a tarot reading with your partner in crime, the love of your life.
My love of my life.
Are you kidding me? This is a good ass deal. And it's $333. Like, I'm telling you right now that is a really good deal. So if you enjoyed yourself at all today, you have any interest, go for the package, because that is a bomb ass deal. Thank you, Danie, for hooking my peeps up. And if you only want one of those, she's going to give you 22% off if you use the code connected, which I love that you picked that code. Like, we're just on the same wavelength here. So holy crap. Thank you to you for today. It was so fun. I hope that everybody that watched had as much fun as I did. Of course, you know, we were doing my chart, so I had a good time. But also, like, I love to learn about other people's charts, especially when I know them, because I'm like, oh, it's totally you. Like, when we did the birth chart reading class, how to read them, 3 of us did it together, and we got to hear each other's charts. And so it was so fun because we knew each other, so we got to validate everything. Yeah, Julie says,
yeah,
oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, close off emotionally. Yeah, it's the furthest. Virgo's the second, but yeah. So she's got 2 of them. Think about that. Her sun and her moon are both in signs that are very detached from emotion. So,
which is so crazy because one of my friends, she's super intuitive, and she said, I'm going to just share this because it's hilarious. She's like, here's Jen. And then Jen has created a moat Jen's in her castle and she's created a moat. She needs a drawbridge for you to be able to get over to her. But she's like, but she needs to remove the drawbridge and the moat and just put up signs that have, visiting hours and boundaries. And she's like, you really have to start letting people in. So it's so funny because I was really upset a couple weeks ago. I had a breakdown, which is a good thing. I don't want to say it's a good thing. That on the other side
break down to break through.
Exactly. And my friend called and I was like in crying mode and I usually don't answer. So I listened to my moat to the boundaries and I was like, all right, I'm going to answer. She's on the call, Katrina. And we just had moments together and I shared with her what I was going through. And so I was proud of myself. It was really hard.
Yeah, that was hard.
But I was like, I'm moving through it. So like hearing it from you on my chart, just like is so much more mind blown. Super awesome. So, Amanda has a question. She would love to know how you can see mediumship in a chart. Is that something that you're able to see?
Yeah, there's we look at 8th house majority for that, but we're also going to look at Pluto. Pluto's one of our Pluto and Pisces, a sign of Pisces, both of them. Mercury plays a role. Again, there's a lots of different places, but 8th house would be the primary place that we would look for any type of intuitive abilities. Yeah, if you've got like Mercury in your 8th house, you're definitely a channeler. Definitely a channeler. Because you're communicating. So, that's if you think about Mercury and the communication. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I believe that we all have the ability.
All of us.
Then if you have that, you would be like very strong. Like I am super intuitive and I channel in different ways. Not like I don't talk to spirits, but so it's interesting. You could see on the chart, like how someone might be more connected in that sense than someone else, which is interesting.
Yeah. Your 8th house is in Cancer. So, that's one of the reasons that is an intuitive sign that's ruled by the moon. So I would definitely say, but as you said, we all have these gifts. It's just about developing them. Those of us that have certain placements on our charts, it's probably even more accessible to us. And we probably experienced things in young childhood. But we all have all the gifts. It's just about exploring them, understanding them, and strengthening them. Yeah.
There's so much to cover, so we'll have to do we could do a whole series on this. Really, I mean, totally we just touched a small part. We already talked about that. Thank you, Danie, so much. You are amazing. I love you to pieces, and thanks to everybody who tuned in, whether you're on the replay or you were here live. We appreciate you, and we hope that you learned a lot and that you can take away something to help you in your life and your world. And have an amazing day. I think that's it.
Bye.